Hey friends, welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I am Taylor and I share What's for Dinner videos like this every Monday to hopefully give you some new meal ideas and motivate you to cook more for your family. As always, any recipes that I mentioned will be linked in the description box down below. This week we tried some new things, some of which were really good and we'll definitely make again, some of which were not so good and I don't think we'll be making again. But let's go ahead and get into this week's What's for Dinner. Friday night, we had sweet and spicy gochujang chicken, and this was so good. I bought this gochujang sauce at Trader Joe's sometime last year, and I used it for another recipe. I cannot remember what I made with it. I need to go back and look. It could have been the same recipe. I'm not sure. I can't remember if it was chicken or not. But this turned out good and I will definitely make this again. I moved it to like my tried and true board over on Pinterest so that I make sure that I remember this recipe. But I'm starting off by whisking together the marinade. For that, I'm mixing together the gochujang paste, honey, rice vinegar, soy sauce, sesame oil, minced garlic, and the white parts of green onion. I'm going to whisk that together really well till it's nice and combined, and then I'm going to add in my chicken. I'm doing some chicken thighs, and I just got those in there and made sure they were coated with that marinade really well, and then I stuck this in the fridge and let it marinate all day. The exact measurements for this will be linked down below in the original recipe. To cook this, I'm going to be using my air fryer. I'm going to spray my air fryer basket with a little bit of olive oil cooking spray. It just helps with the chicken not sticking so much, especially since there's like honey with the chicken. It really helps with that and makes it easier to clean because not so much will stick to it. And then I'm going to lay my chicken out on the basket and then put this in the air fryer on 375 for 20 minutes. And you can flip it halfway through, but I chose not to because I didn't feel like it. And it still came out. I used my thermometer and make sure it was cooked all the way through. And then I served this on top of some plain white rice that I cooked up in the Instant Pot and then some steamed broccoli. And my family has been loving frozen steamed broccoli. I don't know what it is. All I did was sprinkle on some garlic powder, salt and pepper, and they love this. Andy came home and he was like, this meal looks very healthy. But then he loved it so much. He was like, can I just eat bags and bags of frozen broccoli? And I was like, sure, they're really cheap. Saturday night we had spaghetti and meatballs. These are the meatballs that I had bought back in December for my brother's birthday dinner. If you remember, I bought like 2 giant bags of these Black Angus Parmesan Pecorino Romano meatballs, and for my brother's birthday I made them in the oven and I thought they were pretty good like flavor wise, but the texture I didn't love very much. They were like a little bit too mushy, and I think that's because there's so much cheese in them. But this time I made them in the air fryer and they were much better. I still don't think they're like a favorite that I would buy again, but if you have a problem with frozen meatballs, try cooking them in the air fryer. I promise you, you will like them more. Sunday night is the dinner that was just okay, and I probably won't be making again. I had these little Smokies in the freezer. I found them on markdown at Kroger, and I wanted to use them in a different way. I've made a couple different recipes using little Smokies for dinner, just trying to see if there's a way that we can use them and like them. I think so far the best thing to do is probably just make pigs in a blanket. But so we are trying to make them with Cowboy beans. I made them as beanie weenies before, just like simple like pork and beans and then the little Smokies in there, and it was better than this. I think this had like too much flavor to go with the little Smokies. I am putting the little Smokies in the crock pot with just everything that I would usually put in my Cowboy beans. So that is 2 cans of pork and beans. I actually did 3 cans, I think. A tablespoon of minced garlic, about 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire, a tablespoon of mustard, 2 tablespoons of ketchup, a tablespoon of sriracha, and then some parsley, seasoned salt, pepper, and then some cooked bacon. And I gave that all a good stir, mixed it up, and I let this cook on low, I think for like 3 to 4 hours. It doesn't need very long. You could definitely do like high for 2. And then once it's done, you just want to mix in some cheese and then let that melt and it's ready to serve. I served it with some biscuits on the side. And everybody was just like, it's kind of weird. The beans were good. It's just the regular Cowboy beans recipe, but just something about the little Smokies in there was just not a fan of this. Like, and nobody was really a fan. We ate it. It fed us, but I would not really recommend this. Still looking for other dinner recipes to use little Smokies because I can find them on markdown. And I'm like, I feel like they can be used some way besides pigs in a blanket, but maybe not. Maybe we'll just stick to pigs in a blanket. Monday night we did like Chipotle style steak burrito bowls. I'm starting off here by making a marinade for my steak. I was just kind of winging it. I am juicing 1 lime, and then I'm going to start slicing up my steak. I'm using a top round steak. I'm just slicing it as thin as I can and putting it in a bowl. Then along with my steak, I'm adding some adobo seasoning, a little bit of olive oil, that lime juice, and a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, and then I'm going to toss that to combine. And then I think I felt like it needed a little bit more adobo, so I added in a little bit more. And then I let this sit in the fridge for about an hour until I was ready to cook. Then I've got my cast iron skillet here heated up over medium-high heat. Added in a little bit of oil, and then I'm adding in my steak, and I am going to cook this over medium-high heat until like all of the liquid cooks off and my meat starts to get like cooked all the way through and like kind of browned and like charred a little bit on the outside. It takes a little bit. You got to make sure you stir it, but that liquid will cook off and you'll be left with some really good steak. And then once it's done, I remove it, set it on a cutting board, let it sit for like 5 minutes, and then I take a knife and chop it into tiny bite-sized pieces. To go with that, I made some cilantro lime rice. I just make my perfect white rice in the Instant Pot, which is equal parts rice and water, and then like a splash of oil and maybe a splash of vinegar if you want to. It helps make the rice like less sticky, and then you cook it for 5 minutes on manual high pressure. Then I am going in with the juice of 1 lemon, the juice of 2 limes, some salt and pepper, and then about 3 tablespoons of chopped cilantro. Stir that all up, and then that's it. It's super simple to make cilantro lime rice at home, and it is so good. Then everyone assembled their own bowls. We of course had the rice, the steak. I also made some black beans that I seasoned with some adobo seasoning. We had lettuce, cilantro, some chunky salsa, the Taco Bell sauce, shredded cheese, and sour cream. And then I don't think I'm missing anything. And Elijah's is the one with lettuce and no chunky salsa. Lily's is the one with cilantro and lots of chunky salsa. It's so funny to me that Lily does not like lettuce, but she loves cilantro. Tuesday night, I tried a recipe called French onion chicken. This is a recipe that I found on the Lemon 8 app, and it turned out really good. We all really liked it. I'm starting off here with some chicken breasts. This is 2 chicken breasts that I've sliced in half horizontally to make them thinner, and I am seasoning them all over with some garlic powder, paprika, onion salt, Italian seasoning, and pepper, and a little spritz of olive oil cooking spray. And then I'm going to flip them over and do the same thing to the other side. Then I've got my cast iron pan here, and I'm going to heat up a little bit of oil, and then once that's hot, I'm going to add in my chicken, and I'm going to cook it on each side for about 5 minutes. This does not have to be all the way cooked through, but you do want to get a good sear on both sides. Then you're going to add in about 2 tablespoons of butter and then use that to kind of baste the tops of the chicken. And then once you've done that, you can remove the chicken from the pan and just set it on a plate because we will be adding it back later. But we're going to go ahead and add in some thinly sliced onion and cook those up until they are like super tender, like browned, like almost caramelized looking. You definitely could cook the onions longer, but I was growing impatient with the process of cooking onions and was ready to go ahead and add in my minced garlic. And I let that cook for about 30 seconds until it was nice and fragrant. And then I'm going to add in 1 package of Lipton onion soup mix and then 2 cups of beef broth. Stir that around, and then I'm going to add my chicken back in and let this simmer over medium heat for probably about 5 minutes. Then I'm going to go in and top the chicken with some mozzarella cheese, and then I have preheated my oven to 425, and I'm going to stick this in the oven for 15 minutes. This is going to allow the cheese to melt, but also allow my chicken to get cooked all the way through if it is not already. Then when it comes out, everything's going to be nice and melty and bubbly, and you can check the chicken for its temperature, make sure it's cooked all the way through. And then I served this over mashed potatoes, and I just spooned on some of that sauce, the French onion sauce with the onions and the chicken on top, and then some green beans on the side. I thought it was so good. Andy thought it was just okay. The kids also thought it was so good. So I would definitely recommend this recipe. Wednesday night we had like copycat Taco Bell Crunchwraps, so I cooked up some ground beef taco meat, I heated up some nacho cheese, I also made refried beans to go on the side, and then I've got the sour cream, lettuce, I've got cilantro for Lily, some salsa, Taco Bell sauce, shredded cheese, big burrito sized flour tortillas, and tostadas to assemble all of our Crunchwraps. I'm starting here with Elijah's, laying down a big burrito sized flour tortilla. I'm going to top it with some meat and then some nacho cheese, and then we put on a tostada. He does not want sour cream. If you did sour cream, I would usually put it here on top, but he said no. So then we just went in with lettuce, some Taco Bell sauce, and then some shredded cheese. And then I use a piece of another tortilla to cover this up because these burrito sized tortillas would not like close all the way. There would be a hole. So use a piece of tortilla, fill in the hole, fold it up like a crunch wrap, and then I put it on a skillet with a little bit of cooking spray and let that toast up. And then I'm doing the same thing here, but this one is Lily's. So she's going to have ground beef, nacho cheese, and then a tostada that I put some sour cream on. And then instead of lettuce, she is having cilantro, and then some of this chunky salsa, and then also Taco Bell sauce and some shredded cheese, and again a piece of tortilla to fill in the hole, then fold it up like a crunch wrap and stick it on the pan to toast. On the side of this, we had those refried beans, and that's all I had, but the kids also had some mashed up avocado, some chips, and some salsa. For the last night of the week, I just kept things simple. I took some bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs out of the air fryer, seasoned them up with some Tony's Creole seasoning, popped them in the air fryer on like 400 for about 25 minutes. The skin gets nice and crispy. I do flip these halfway through. I do skin side down first for like the first 12 minutes and then skin side up for the last bit until they are cooked all the way through, and then that skin gets nice and crispy. I did some Instant Pot mac and cheese with it. I will try to remember to link that down below, and then some green beans, and then I eat my green beans and my chicken covered in hot sauce, and so does Andy, and it's so good. Very simple, comforting meal, which is much needed after the rough week that we had. It's been a rough week. I hope y'all take care of yourselves this week. Turn off the news if you need to. It'll be there when you turn it back on. We can't ignore it forever, but sometimes you just need to take a break and take care of yourself. So I hope y'all do that. Let me know in the comments down below if you are going to try any of these recipes. If you made it here all the way to the end, make sure you leave me a smiley face in the comments down below, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.